Threats of mass violence and the exploitation of children are some of the most heinous crimes we investigate, and this case was no different. 14-year-old Jose Bagan Jr. was engaged in an online chat room that's designed or designated for violent extremists. In this online chat room, he discussed shooting up a church nearby his home located in Waimama. He didn't specify which church that was. This case is a dangerous intersection between individuals that engage in online activity and the real life threat that it poses. This 14-year-old is linked to a neo-Nazi satanic group called Temple of Love, where they advocate and encourage violence to achieve spiritual enlightenment. This residence a few days earlier, this search warrant and arrest happened on January 31st. A few days earlier, on January 27th, we had received information, and our internet predator unit was working a suspected child exploitation allegations at the same address, child pornography charges coming from the same IP address located at a computer within that home.
What?
So armed with the search warrants, detective service search warrant, and realized that the computer is linked to this 14-year-old. Doing a cursory search, they discovered 14 extremely graphic, disturbing images where individuals were inflicting violence towards infants and toddlers. Images too graphic and too disturbing to discuss because they would keep all of you up at night. He was placed under arrest for those images. I firmly believe, now that we recovered and seized all his electronics devices, that there will be additional charges pending once we complete the forensic download of his electronic devices.
Is this nurture or nature? Was he born like this, or this something that society turned him into?
The question being, did he have access to firearms? Could he commit this violence? Inside his father's safe, which he didn't have access to, was an assault rifle and 2 firearms. But there was a firearm located and recovered in his dad's nightstand that he easily could have access to. Think about the potential of the violence that could have occurred. At this time, there's 2 churches located in the nearby area of where his house is. We have directed patrol activities that are occurring, which means several times throughout the day, especially during worship service, we will make sure that we have a presence at these churches to deter him or anyone else who thought that they may inflict violence. Whether it be a place of education, a place of worship, or any type of public place, this community has an expectations of safety, and it will always be a focal point of safety and a priority for each of us. He has been charged with written terroristic threats, along with the images that I spoke about, the 14 images, the 10 or more images of the child pornography that he was found to be in possession of. He is currently charged as a juvenile. Let me make something very clear. Don't let the age of this suspect diminish the seriousness of these crimes that he committed.
So why a juvenile? Big boy crimes need big boy times. We talked about this plenty of times.
We will work with the state attorney. Whether he's charged as an adult or not charged as an adult will be a decision that she will ultimately make. I can tell you that after the 21-day hold of this juvenile, based on the seriousness of crimes and the graphic images and the threats of violence, and this violent extremist group that he was a part of, where we retrieved images where he was dressed in black, where he wore the white t-shirt with the symbol LLM, No Lives Matter. I'm extremely worried about this 14-year-old integrating back into our community where our loved ones live. At this time, what questions can I attempt to answer? This case is extremely worrisome. Cases like this, I always stand in front of a camera and I advocate that there's no such thing as being a helicopter pilot. There's no such thing as being a helicopter parent. There's no such thing as overparenting. Please, if I can make a plea to every parent out there, there's no such thing as overparenting. Make sure you're monitoring your child's online activity. Who are they associating with? Who are they talking to? God forbid it ever reach the level that an activity that this 14-year-old was engaged in.
Can you shed some more light on the tip that came in? Like, how did the sheriff's office become aware of this?
Yes, we received a tip from the Joint Terrorism Task Force about the mass shooting. And at the same time, a few days earlier, we received a tip from a child exploitation hotline that we received that they got information that there was child pornography images being downloaded at this residence. This is when the detectives immediately took action, got a search warrant, and were able to get to this point today where this individual is no longer a threat to this community.
Sheriff, that moment when you were made aware of these sort of two different investigations, you have the terrorism one and then also the child porn, when you realize it's the same address and potentially the same suspect, what runs through your mind?
Well, I was grateful the fact that we have a system, an internal system, where anytime we're working something at a residence, it's communicated throughout the agency. So regardless of what department or division or your assignment is, there's information sharing. So I was happy the fact that we have the Internet Predator Unit along with the Joint Terrorism Task Force detective that's associated with that task force that was able to communicate when they started researching these addresses and get linked up and be able to put a stop to any type of threat of violence or someone that continues to engage in this type of behavior before it was able to become an even larger threat to this community.
This extremist group that you mentioned, is this like a Florida-based thing? Is this a national-based thing? What more can you tell us about this group?
This is a neo-Nazi satanic group that advocates for violence as a terms of achieving spiritual enlightenment. This is a national recognized hate group, and their tentacles go into any community, especially that of a vulnerable 14-year-old who's left unsupervised, engaged in, and did nothing but become more and more associated with this group. To what extent? Luckily, thankfully, we'll never know. The parent was quite upset. The child didn't seem much bothered by it. The only explanation he gave is he was trying to be edgy. I don't know if I'll ever understand that. The dad was upset. You could even see on the deputy's body cam that the dad was admonishing him. I told you not to get on there. I told you not to talk to these people. I told you not to associate with these people. He was upset.
Oh, does that mean that he had prior knowledge that he was doing stuff like this and associating with these kind of people? This is crazy.
There certainly will, I feel, firmly believe that there'll be additional charges. Those weren't the only 14 images. I firmly believe there'll be additional images. Now, once we conduct our forensic sweep of these images, depending on how many images, more images that we recover, When we do a deep dive, even when they erase it, we can still get to it. I don't know. I think that's the worrisome and scary part. But it's much more than those 14 images. I can assure you. The weapons? Yeah. His dad had him weapons locked in a safe that he didn't have access to, but there was a weapon that he could have easily assessed that was in his dad's nightstand. Thank you, everyone.
14 years old, y'all. 14 years old and a part of a neo-Nazi satanic group. Let's go over to the AI breakdown just so we can break down a little bit more of this. So early February, Hillsborough County arrested a 14-year-old identified as Jose Pagan Jr. for allegedly planning a mass shooting at a church in Florida. So the teen allegedly discussed plans to carry out a mass shooting at the church near his home in an online chat room used by violent extremists. The sheriff stated that the boy was linked to a neo-Nazi satanic group known as the Temple of Love, which reportedly glorifies violence as a path to enlightenment. During the search, they found guns and ammo, which we heard about. The investigation also uncovered child pornography or child sex abuse material on the subject's electronic devices, including extremely graphic images of violence against infants and toddlers at 14 years old. Did he just download it because he liked to see them? What? So he was arrested on January 31st, 2026, and faces several serious charges, including making threats of mass shooting or acts of terrorism, and multiple counts of related to the child pornography. Authorities are considering whether to charge him as an adult. Charge him as an adult. You don't even need to think about it. But I did have more questions about the online stuff. So while he was only arrested for the physical plot, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office found the teen was engaged in other violent actors in the online extremist community. So we got the Temple of Love. The teen was linked to a neo-Nazi group, also referred to as Temple of Blood, I think that's how you say it, which encouraged murder and terrorism as a means to achieve spiritual enlightenment. So he also discussed his plans in an online chat room specifically designed for violent extremists, where he reportedly idolized past mass murders, referring to them as saints. So, role of the parents. Here's a good. So, no charges have been reportedly against the child's father at the time, though the investigator noted significant details regarding his involvement. So, they talked about the gun access that was in the nightstand. Prior warning. So, according to the sheriff, the father was furious during the arrest and had previously warned his son not to talk to the people on the internet. Now, that's my. Was he known to just? Was he just saying not to talk to people on the internet in general, or did he know what his son was involved with, or know who the kind of people he liked to talk to, which is crazy to think about. And then they say the investigation remains ongoing. 14 years old Jose Pagan Jr., neo-Nazi Satanist. The first time I've heard that all together. Who had child pornography or child sex abuse material and violence, abuse of infants and toddlers. This little kid needs to be in jail. 14 years old, you know what's right from wrong. Send him away. Because if he really went, if he would have grabbed that gun out of the nightstand, it would have been a bad day for anybody. Anybody he would have met. All because he, for some reason, believes that the Temple of Love is right and that the violence is the path to enlightenment. Now, here's a question. I always say this. The father seemed generally upset. But the point is is the father the cause of it? Is it him being too strict? Is it him not being strict enough? Is it just the child was born bad? What is it? Because at 14 years old, you shouldn't be thinking about this kind of stuff. This is a crazy world we live in, y'all, but we got to review the world together. We have to review the world together. Let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said, because this is a crazy situation. I wonder how much time he'll get. Will he be charged with a juvenile or as an adult? Hopefully, I'm thinking he needs to be charged as an adult. I've said this several times. Y'all know my saying. Big boy crimes need big boy time. It's as simple as that.